Tranche of the Paris London Club refund loan will be received by the state government next month. Governor Bikola Moso for the state will make this known at this year's International Day of Cooperatives at the MQ International Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta, promised to immediately use part of the money for the part payment of the 16-month cooperative deductions of civil servants owed by his administration. Meanwhile, 11,500 registered cooperatives will share the sum of 25 million naira revolving loan with 7% interest. The governor who made this announcement also promised to release another 50 million naira loan for them by December 2017.
Probably not be what the maximum is government because the government were incompatible with them. And I'm sure that you know what I'm saying. Very soon they will promise us that we need one more. And once that is done,
Earlier in his address, the president of the State Cooperative Federation Limited, Abdulrazak Balogo, appealed to the state governments to pay the outstanding cooperative deductions to allow them have access to more funds. Motorists flying roads in Ogun State at night must start using the headlight, fire extinguishers, road cautions, reflective signs, and other safety measures or be arrested by the traffic law enforcement agencies. This followed the resolution passed by the State House of Assembly, which empowers the state traffic compliance and enforcement corps, TRACE, and traffic management agencies to begin the arrest of motorists who fail to comply while driving at night. The House Minority Leader, Olawale Alausa, who sponsored the resolution during the Assembly's plenary in Abeokuta, explained that it is necessary for road users, particularly truck drivers, to use necessary road signs while driving during the period to avoid road accidents, especially on highway. The Deputy Speaker, Kunle Oluomo, Majority Leader, Adeyinka Mafe, Chief Whip, Idowu Olowofuja, Olushola Bankole, Tunde Sanusi, Mrs. Juliana Akintayo, among others, while supporting the resolution, called on the traffic management agencies to start educating the motorists and enforcing the resolution to reduce high rate of road crashes in the state. Senate has resolved to suspend all issues regarding confirmation requests by the presidency until the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, respected all its resolutions. It also directed the acting president to immediately remove Mr. Ibrahim Magu as the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and forward another name for confirmation. The decision of the Senate arose from a motion raised by Senator Ahmed Sani following a letter requesting the confirmation of Mr. Larry Gbajabiamila as Director General of the National Lottery Commission. The Senate accused the presidency of constant disregard and disrespect to the law of the House and the Nigerian Constitution. It further directed Osinbajo to immediately withdraw his statement that the Senate lacked constitutional powers to confirm Magu and other presidential nominations. It to be recalled that the Senate had twice rejected Magu's nomination by President Buhari as substantial chairman of the EFCC. Meanwhile, the Senate has described as effort in futility and deliberate waste of taxpayers' money the moves in Kogi State to recall Senator Dino Melaye. The Senate says the processes and procedures for recalling a lawmaker are tedious and rigorous and must be strictly adhered to. It notes that the Senate has a final say constitutionally to determine the credibility or otherwise of the process. The House of Representatives has summoned the Power, Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola over an alleged breach of parliamentary privilege and public incitement. The resolution of the House followed a motion by a lawmaker, Sadiq Ibrahim, accusing the minister of inciting the people against their representatives. Fashola has protested the alleged mutilation of the 2017 budget of his ministry by the National Assembly, accusing it of illegally inserting several capital projects outside the focus of his ministry into the budget. The House, in a unanimous vote, resolved to set up an ad hoc committee and invite the minister to explain the breach of the privilege. National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACAN, says the first flight to convey Nigerian pilgrims to Saudi Arabia for the 2017 Hajj is scheduled to depart on Friday, July 30. NACAN head of media, Malam Ubamana, who made this known in a statement, says the Commission has commenced processing of visas for about 40,000 intending pilgrims who have completed payment of their hard fares. NACON spokesman asked the state pilgrims board and agencies to commence the inoculation of intending pilgrims and issuance of their basic travel allowances. Among our listed states with the highest number of registered pilgrims to include Kaduna with 6,335, followed by Niger with 4,129. Zamfara, Kano, and Sokoto have 3,000 pilgrims each. About 95,000 pilgrims are expected to perform the 2017 Hajj. Four members of staff of the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library at Abeokuta have been arraigned before an Abeokuta magistrate court for allegedly stealing a 2.5 kV electricity generating plant of the library. The accused persons are Deboali Titelayo, David Matthew, Tobi Adebanjo, and Aziz Ganiu pleaded not guilty to the three-count charge leveled against them. The prosecutor, Inspector Sunday, told the court that the accused person between last June 1 and 7 stole the sum of 296,300 naira and a 2.5 kVA generator belonging to the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library. The magistrate, Mrs. Adeola Adelaja, granted the accused person's bail in the sum of 1 million naira with two sureties alike sum and adjourned the case till August 2 for hearing. You're still listening to the World News at 5 on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business, and sport news. Please do stay with us. A North Korean missile test has left the United States and China split over how to deal with North Korea, who have reached various UN Security Council resolutions. North Korea announced Tuesday it had successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile, which state media said had reached an altitude of 2,802 kilometers, that's about 1,741 miles, its highest ever missile test. The country's state media claimed they had the power to now strike the American mainland with a nuclear warhead. Speaking alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping at a Moscow press conference, Russian President Vladimir Putin said both leaders wanted peace and stability on the Korean peninsula. However, within hours of the statement, the US announced they've held a new ballistic missile drill to counter North Korea's destabilizing and unlawful actions. The drills showcase precision targeting of the enemy's leadership in case of an emergency, the South Korean Defense Ministry statement said. The US has also asked for an urgent meeting of the United Nations Security Council to discuss the issues. Four Arab states in a diplomatic standoff with Qatar say they have received a response from Qatar to their list of demands, according to Saudi Arabian state media. Bahrain, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia suspended diplomatic relations and cut off land, sea, and air travel to Qatar last month, accusing the country of funding terrorism and destabilizing the Middle East. The demands included the closure of the Al Jazeera media network, a reduction in diplomatic ties with Iran, and a halting of a Turkish military base in Qatar. The Qatari response was handed over by Kuwait, which is acting as a mediator in the dispute. It's yet unknown how many of the demands Qatar has agreed to meet, but Qatar's foreign minister has previously said the list had obligations that couldn't be met and was made to be rejected. Mohammed Gagar Shamwa, the UAE Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, told the CNN this week that any future agreement with Qatar must be monitored by US and European states to ensure Al Jazeera and others did not incite terrorism or extremism, and that terror groups were not aided politically by or from Qatar. In business, a new board has been constituted for Etisalat Nigeria as part of moves to reposition the telecommunications company. The new board is headed by the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Deputy Governor Dr. Joseph Onama, who replaced Bello Osage. Osage resigned last week as the new board chairman of the telecommunication firm. Others are Boye Olusoya, who was the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Econet Wireless, and has now been appointed the new Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer. The Executive Director of Finance, Funke Godaro, a former Chief Financial Officer of Tiger Brands Limited, and was managing director of a private equity firm, Kagiso Ventures Limited, and executive director of its parent company, Kagiso Trust Investment Company. The national senior partner, KPMG Professional Services Nigeria, Oluseyi Bickersteth, and Ken Ibokwe were appointed as non-executive director of the board. Finally, in the World News of 5, Sport News. Newly appointed coach of French League One side, Lille, Marcelo Bielsa, has told Nigerian shortstopper Vincent Yama and 10 others that they are not needed in his team. Other players who were dropped by the club, according to a report in France, are Antonio Marcelo Lopez, Rio Mavuba, and Cote d'Ivoire player Junior Tall. After his appointment as coach by the new owners of the team, the Argentine made it clear that restructuring the team that finished 11th in League One last season is his top priority, and he appears to have started the clear-out. Bielsa earlier informed Yama and other 10 ex-senior players of the team to report for pre-season training on the 3rd of July, while he focused on the players who are part of his team for next season at a much earlier date of the 19th of June. One of the dropped players, Junior Talo, described the move by Lille as a shock as they were informed about the release through a text message. Nigeria midfielder Genyo Nazi has called time on his playing career with Turkish top-flight side Trabzonspor owing to unpaid pays. The 24-year-old who quit Lazio on similar grounds dumped the Trabzon-based team after playing the final 2 months of last term without receiving a dime. According to the player's agent, Ayodele Makiwa, the Black Sea Storm have been notified of the decision. Makiwa said Onazi is now looking for a quick solution in his next destination. Onazi joins Algeria's Kal Mejani and Ghana's Majid Wadiz, who recently quit the Turkish club following a row over unpaid wages. That was the World News at 5. And just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun to get second tranche of Paris club loan refund next month. Senate suspends confirmation of nominees from the presidency. NACON to begin airlifting of 2017 Hajj pilgrims on July 30. House of Representatives summons Babatunde Raji Fashola over 2017 budget comments. On the foreign scene, we told you that United States and China are divided over the new North Korean missile threat. For more stories, how to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you so much for listening. I am Tobi Joseph. Good evening.